recording. Ma'am, you can start, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, children. So today our topic will be on antigen and antibody. So what do you mean by an antigen? An antigen is any foreign substance. It can be a chemical, it can be a bacteria, virus, or any infectious agent. On entering the human system, it has the capability of stimulating the immune system. Those substances are called as antigens. So in response to this antigen, the immune system can respond in two different ways. One is by means of humoral immunity, which involves the B cells, and these B cells in turn produce antibodies. And the other arm of the immune system is the cell-mediated immunity, where the T cells get stimulated and it produces many effector T cells and interleukins, which enhance the immune response to the antigen. So today our topic will pertain only to antigen and antibody. So the smallest unit of antigenicity is called as an epitope. The antigen may be a complex structure, but only one small portion of that antigen is responsible for producing an antibody. And the binding area of the epitope on the surface of the antibody molecule is called as the paratope. And one of the important characteristic of an antigen is specificity. Any immune reaction, it is specific. What do you mean by specific? Specificity means the antigen with its epitope will produce a specific antibody to which it can attach to. So this specificity is one of the characteristic feature of an immune response. And there are two types of antigens, complete antigens and incomplete antigens. What are complete antigens? An antigen is said to be complete if it carries out these two different functions. One, induction of the immune response, and number two, specific reaction with antibodies or sensitized T cells. Complete antigen is able to induce antibody formation and produce a specific and observable reaction with the antibody produced. So these antigens are called as complete antigens. Then what are incomplete antigens? Incomplete antigens are also called as haptens. Though they are antigens, they are unable to induce an immune response. This could be due to various reasons like the size, the chemical nature, or the physical nature. There are so many factors which influence the antigens to induce an immune response. So you can enhance the immunogenicity of an incomplete antigen by combining it with the carrier protein. The carrier proteins, there are various carrier proteins available. One such is the capsular polysaccharide of pneumococcus or the polysaccharide C of streptococci. When you combine an incomplete antigen with these two structures, it becomes immunogenic and stimulates the immune response. And there are few drugs and chemicals also which can also enhance the immunogenicity of an incomplete antigen. And one is the Forsman and the cardiolipin antigens, which are the classical examples of the carrier protein which can enhance the immunogenicity of a hapten. There is another group called as the heterophil antigen, which is nothing but closely related antigen in different species. It is mainly based on a common antigen between an organism and a tissue or in the body. The classical example of a heterophil antigen antibody reaction is your Weil-Felix reaction, which is usually done to diagnose typhus fever, which is coming under Rickettsia. This Rickettsia is a group of organisms which are not cultivable. So, but they share a common antigen on its cell surface to some strains of Proteus bacilli. So, we use this property and use the Proteus bacilli to identify the antibody response of an individual to typhus rickettsia. And this is called as the Weil-Felix reaction. The other example is the cold agglutination test for primary atypical pneumonia. Primary atypical pneumonia is caused by which organism? Anyone?
Klebsiella.
Pardon? Suchit?
Klebsiella.
No idea? It is mainly caused by Mycoplasma pneumoniae. This Mycoplasma pneumoniae, it has an antigen sharing with the O blood group of the RBCs. So, this O blood group of blood group RBCs are taken and they are diagnosed with the specific antibodies for primary atypical pneumonia. The same way Paul Bunel test for infectious mononucleosis. That is about the heterophil antigen, which is nothing but sharing of antigen between the different species. And isospecificity is one of the characteristic of the antigen. And a classical example of this isospecificity is your human erythrocyte antigens and the HLA antigens. These antigens are present in some but not in all members of the same species. Say, why do we say we are B blood group A, B, A1, B1? It is mainly based upon the isoantigen present on the RBC surface. So not all of us will have all the antigen, but we will have any one of the blood group antigens, and we are termed based upon the presence or absence of the blood group antigen into different blood groups. That is about the isospecificity of an antigen. This is the classical blood group B, where you have the B antigen on the surface of the blood group. Then coming to the chemical nature of the antigen, most of the antigens are proteins or polysaccharides, and they are said to be more immunogenic when compared to lipids and nucleic acids, which are less immunogenic. And gelatin, a protein, is non-immunogenic because of its antigenic instability and low aromatic radical. So the question may be, all of the following are proteins which can stimulate, which can act as antigen, except that could be gelatin, because of its antigenic instability and low aromatic radical. Coming to the molecular size, larger the size of the antigen, more antigenicity. Most potent immunogens are proteins with molecular weight of greater than 1 lakh. And larger molecules possess certain degree of chemical complexity, so the immune system will be stimulated in a very drastic way. That finishes about our antigens, and moving on to antibodies. How many types of antibodies are there, as you know? Anyone?
5 types.
What are they?
5.
Huh?
IgG, IgM, and A, D.
And E. Okay, very good. So these immunoglobulins are glycoproteins, and they are made up of 2 light chains and 2 heavy chains, which are held together with the help of a disulfide bond. Based upon the heavy chain only, they are classified into 5 classes, that is immunoglobulin G, A, M, D, and E. So this is the structure of the antibody, where you have, this is the heavy chain and this is the light chain. The heavy chain and the light chain is divided into a constant region and a variable region. This constant region of the heavy chain has few disulfide bonds, and this variable region has a single disulfide bond between. What is the purpose of this variable region? This is the antigen binding site of the antibody. This is where the antigen which is coming from the exterior will come and bind to. It is the more hypervariable region. Why do we call it as hypervariable region? Is it can accept any different types of antigen. That is why it is called as a hypervariable region. And this is the constant region for the for the light chain, and the constant region for the heavy chain. So the most important aspect for an antibody is the hypervariable region of the antibody. So this, as I said, it has two ends, an amino terminus and a carboxy terminus, or the constant region. The FAB or the antibody binding site of the chain is highly variable, and the region is called as the hypervariable region, which is made up of both the heavy and the light chains, whereas the carboxy terminal or the constant region is made up of only the heavy chain. The Fc portion is constant and crystallizable, but it determines the biological property of the antibodies. So, this antigen binding site is responsible for it to bind to the antigen, whereas the constant region is responsible for most of the biological properties. And coming to the details of the heavy and the light chain, the heavy chains are structurally and antigenically distinct for each class of antibody. For example, IgA will have alpha chain, IgG will have gamma chain, E will have epsilon, D will have delta. So based upon the heavy chain only, it has been classified into 5 different classes of antibodies. Whereas the L chains are similar in all classes. And there are 2 varieties of L chains available, namely the kappa and lambda. A molecule of immunoglobulin may have either kappa or lambda, but never both together. And the ratio of availability of kappa and lambda is around 2:1 in case of human sera. The H chain has one variable domain and either 3 or 4 constant domains. IgA, D and G have 3 constant domains, whereas IgE and M has 4 constant domains. So these constant domains are numbered. C is for the constant region and H is for the heavy chain. CH1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 based upon the number of constant domains available, of which the CH2 of the heavy chain will bind to C1q component of the classical pathway, and CH3 of the heavy chain will mediate adherence to the monocyte surface. As I said, the constant portion is responsible for most of the biological activity of the antibody. Okay. So on enzymatic digestion with pepsin and pepine, when you digest with pepine, you divides into 2 FAB portions and 1 FC portion. Whereas in case of pepsin, you have the FAB2 and the FC portion is just disintegrated. This is how the enzymatic digestion of this has not much value to depend upon, but for you in MCQs they may ask enzymatic digestion with peptide will release what are the fragments. So for that I have given you this slide. Now coming to the individual antibodies, the IgG or the immunoglobulin G, it is the major serum immunoglobulin which constitutes about 80% of the total immunoglobulins. It has 3 globular domains in the heavy chain. It is equally distributed among intracellular and the extracellular compartments, and it has the longest half-life of about 23 days. And it crosses the placenta. It's one of the most important point which everyone knows. And it is the antibody of secondary immune response. Which is the antibody of primary immune response?
IgE.
IgM. IgE is mainly for parasitic infections and allergy. Whereas IgM is the antibody of primary immune or first time infection. And IgG1 has 4 subclasses, that is IgG1, G2, G3 and G4, of which the least is IgG4. Coming to IgM, it is the heavy molecule and called as the millionaire molecule because it has a very high molecular weight, and it bears 5 peptide subunits which are joined by the J chain, so has a pentameric structure. It has an extra constant domain when compared to the other antibodies, and it has an elongated hinge region in between. It is the antibody of primary immune response, and it is the earliest antibody to be produced regarding any infection, whether it is viral, bacterial, or whatever infection it is. The first antibody to arise will be IgM. Once the infection reaches a peak, the IgM will come down and IgG will take over, and IgG will last longer, maybe duration for about few months to years, to give protection against the same antigen. IgM is nearly 500 to 1000 times more effective than IgG in opsonization, and it mainly protects bloodstream infections. This is the IgM, this is the J chain, and it has the 5 molecules. That is why it has a very high molecular weight and it has a pentameric structure. Coming to the reactions when compared to IgG and IgM, precipitation is stronger in IgG, whereas it is weak in IgM. And agglutination, once agglutination takes place, it is mainly because of IgM and not IgG. Complement fixation also IgM, and lysis, that is opsonization and lysis, is mainly by IgM, and neutralization of toxins and viruses, it is mainly IgG. So the IgG, when you think of IgG, the two things which should come to your mind is precipitation and neutralization of toxins and viruses, whereas for IgM, it is agglutination, complement fixation, and lysis due to opsonization. These are the five different features which differentiates between IgG and IgM, and all these component is mainly because of the Fc portion of the antibody. Then coming to IgE, which is homocytotropic, it is a highly heat labile organism, antibody, and it has 4 constant domains. It does not has a hinge region, and affinity, the mainly IgE has an affinity to the surface of mast cells. What does the mast cell secrete? Anyone?
Histamine.
Huh?
Histamines.
Very good. So they mainly release
Histamines.
various inflammatory mediators, of which one such is histamine. So this IgE has an affinity for surface of the mast cells, and once this IgE attaches to the surface of the mast cells, demembranization of the granules present within IgE takes place, and release of these anaphylatoxins takes place. And they are mainly produced by the lining of the respiratory and intestinal mucosa. IgE does not fix the complement, and they are usually raised in anaphylaxis and parasitic infections. IgA is the second most abundant antibody next to IgG. It is mainly present in all the secretions, namely in the colostrum, saliva, and tears. And IgA is mainly found on the mucosal surfaces and in secretions. And you have two subclasses, IgA1 and A2. IgA2 lacks the interchain disulfide bond between H and L chains, and it has a secretory component which is produced by the mucosa of the glandular epithelial cells, which plays an important role in local immunity against respiratory and intestinal pathogens. So IgA means it is mainly protecting the mucosa. This is IgA, which is has the J chain in between. Okay. So with that, we finish the features of antigens and antibodies. Now moving on to the questions. A molecule that can be covalently linked to a non-immunogenic antigen to make it an immunogen is called, what is it called?
Hapten.
Option B, carrier.
Carrier. Very good. Hapten is an incomplete antigen. And what are adjuvants?
Metal containing substance.
Enhance.
Pardon? Adjuvants. What are adjuvants? Adjuvants also can enhance the immunity of an antigen. And haptens as an incomplete antigen. And super antigens are those antigens which can stimulate umpty number of cells. It can stimulate B cells, T cells, and so many cells and produce an exaggerated immune response to an antigen. They are called as super antigens. Can you give an example of super antigen? Anyone? A classical example of super antigen is your enterotoxin produced by staphylococci. Okay. Okay. Which of the following adjuvants activate macrophages and NK cells? Incomplete Fruens adjuvants, Bordetella pertussis, BCG, Bacillus calmette guerin, and alum. Which of the following adjuvant activates macrophages and NK cells? It is mainly BCG.
BCG.
Yeah, BCG is one of a very good example of an adjuvant. So adjuvants it may function by prolonging the retention of the immunogen, or by increasing the effective size of the immunogen, or by stimulating the local influx of the macrophages and other immune cells. Alum, it mainly acts by a depot effect. Bacterial products acts by stimulating the local influx of macrophages. And what is Fruens adjuvant? It is a water in oil emulsion of killed mycobacterium, which acts by providing a depot for immunogen and by stimulating macrophages and lymphocytes. But it is strong inflammatory effect precludes its use in humans. So Fruens adjuvants are not at all used in any vaccines or anywhere in the humans. That is about the adjuvants. And isospecificity of antigen has clinical application in blood transfusion, isoimmunization during pregnancy, determination of disputed paternity, all of these. What is the answer? Yes?
All of
All of these.
All.
Isospecificity, as I said, is mainly the blood group antigen. So it is useful in blood transfusion, isoimmunization during pregnancy, and determination of disputed paternity. So all of this is correct. So secretory piece of IgA is synthesized by which cells? T cells, B cells, lymph node, mucosal epithelium.
Mucosal epithelium.
Mucosal epithelium. So IgA mainly protects the mucosa, and it is mainly due to the production of a secretory piece of IgA, which is synthesized by the mucosal epithelium. In a study of IgA synthesis and blood levels in infants, one population of infant had normal levels of circulating IgA, but an unexpected high level of respiratory disease. These infants probably could not synthesize J chain, had antibodies that lacked an FAB unit, came from mothers who did not synthesize IgG, lacked J genes. One.
First option. Not sure.
First option, because J chain is necessary for the IgA to give protection. So it is essential for the completing the structure of IgA. Even IgM, this J chain is very much important. J chain is present only in IgA and IgM. And secretory IgA is protective, and absence of secretory IgA was responsible for the increased susceptibility to respiratory disease for this particular infant. Which of the following is not a characteristic of IgG? It contains 2 gamma and 2 light chains. It crosses the placenta. It is the largest of all the IgGs. Its L chains are either kappa or lambda.
It is the largest of all the IgGs.
Yes, so which is the largest? IG?
M.
No.
Okay. True statement about immunoglobulin is IgM fixes the complement, IgG does not cross the placenta, IgE binds to phagocytes, IgA binds to mast cells.
First option A.
Because IgG will cross the placenta, IgE binds to which cells?
Baso.
Mast cells.
Mast
Or
cells.
cells. Okay, good. And IgA binds to the mainly the secretory epithelium. Mucosa. Okay. Okay. Human serum IgA is isolated and injected into a rabbit. The rabbit anti-IgA antibodies will react against all of the following except alpha chain, kappa chain, lambda chain or light chain, secretory component. Which is the answer?
Alpha chain.
Secretory component. Secretory component is only used for the joining of the two molecules of IgA. Whereas the alpha chain, kappa chain and light chain or L chains are mainly the component of the serum IgA. So antibodies will be produced only against these three components. Is it clear? Because the secretory component is mainly produced by the mucosa of the individual. It is not a part of the antibody as such. Do you understand? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
A child was identified in the pediatric department that could synthesize only one class of immunoglobulin. The immunoglobulin had 4 C domains in its H chain and was a potent activator of the complement cascade. These facts identify the immunoglobulin as IgA, IgM, IgG or IgE. Which one?
G.
Which has 4 domains?
IgM and
Hmm?
IgE and
No.
M.
Yeah, very good. So because IgM is the one which is combines with the complement and stimulates the complement cascade, and that is the one which has 4 domains in the H chain. Very good. Okay. So due to the presence of because since it has a 5 fragments, it is called the it stimulates the complement cascade. The following are true about the Fc region of an immunoglobulin except they can be cleaved from the FAB region by peptide. They are responsible for cell lysis. They are involved in mast cell binding. They determine the ability of the immunoglobulins for transplacental transfer.
they are cell lysis.
Second, sir.
Responsible
Second.
for cell lysis. Very good. So that is the answer. Others are all the factors which are true about Fc portion of the immunoglobulin. Okay, very good. Antigen binding site in immunoglobulin is the variable region, hypervariable region, hinged region, constant region.
Variable.
Variable or hypervariable?
Hypervariable.
Hypervariable. The variable region contains each a domain, but the hypervariable region is the antigen binding site of the immunoglobulin. As I said, so that it can accommodate all the varieties of antigens which is existing in the world. Okay. So the amino terminal, half of the chain is highly variable. The region is called hypervariable, which is made up of both light and the heavy chains of the antibody molecule. IgE is secreted by mast cells, basophils, eosinophils, plasma cells. Mast
Mast cell.
cells. Is it so?
Yes,
The
sir.
No. Eosinophils. Oh.
eosinophils.
It binds to mast cells, not secreted.
IgE will bind to the mast cells, but all antibodies are produced by plasma cells. Is it clear? Plasma cells are the cells responsible for production of antibodies. These plasma cells will produce antibodies against any antigen. Whereas mast cells, they have only the attachment site for the IgE on its surface. Is it clear? So plasma cells are the one which produce all types, whether it is IgA, G, any antibody, it is produced only by plasma cells. Okay. These plasma cells are from B cell lineage. That is why it is called as the humoral immunity or B cell mediated immunity. Okay. The serum concentration of which of the following human IgG subclass is maximum? IgG1, G2, G3, G4. Which subclass? You know there are 4 subclasses. Which subclass is maximum?
First.
IgG1. Least is IgG4. Okay. Least is IgG4. Opsonization is mainly by which antibody? In this 2 you can delete. IgA and E you can delete. Of IgG and M, which is
M.
responsible for opsonization?
IgM.
M.
The
IG.
fourth of.
IgM is responsible because it is 500 to 1000 times more effective than IgG in opsonization. Is it clear? Which of the following antibody is strongly effective in precipitation?
IgG.
IgG.
Very good, IgG. Agglutination?
IgM.
Agglutination, which antibody?
M.
IgM.
IgM.
Okay, IgG for precipitation, IgM for agglutination. Is it clear? Okay, see that is why see precipitation, IgG is strong, IgM is weak. Agglutination and complement fixation, IgM, and also lysis, IgM is strong. Okay. Compared with other class of immunoglobulins, IgG is predominant in which one of the following ways? Complement activation, production by the fetus, component of primary immune response, enhanced phagocytosis. IgG
Enhances
enhances the phagocytosis. Okay. Complement activation is mainly by IgM. Okay. Production of by the fetus is primarily only IgM. Okay. And component of a primary immune response, which is the antibody which will be produced first, it is once again IgM. So enhanced
IgM.
phagocytosis is the answer for this question. Following are the properties of IgE except it is homocytotropic, it is heat sensitive, it cannot cross placenta, it fixes the complement.
Option
Heat.
D.
D.
Fourth option.
It fixes the complement. Very good.
Fourth option.
That is the correct answer. Very good. Okay, so with this we finish today's class. It is a short class only because the 2
Excuse me,
topics
ma'am.
are very small. If you have any doubts, you can ask.
Ma'am, IgE is heat liable. Okay. Heat sensitive.
Yes. Yes, why?
Ma'am, once please explain the point. No, ma'am. IgE is heat sensitive.
It is heat labile. Heat sensitive means if you heat, the biological property of the antibody will be lost. Heat sensitive or heat labile, both are same. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Because in few tests, there are steps in the laboratory where you should keep the serum or plasma in around 52 degrees centigrade for few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. This is mainly to inactivate the IgE, which may interfere with the reaction. So it is since it is heat sensitive, we use that step to assess certain properties of certain antibodies. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Any other doubts? It's a very small topic and most of you know most of the things. I have not taken very common questions asked in the usual books. These are little answers may be same, but a little way, different way of questioning you. Okay.
Okay.
Mm. If no other questions, I think we can.
No doubt.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.